Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Liz. Thank you for stopping by. I'm doing a little whip and chat this morning, although it's pitch black out there. It is Christmas Eve. I hope everyone is doing great. Merry Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to everyone. And whatever else you celebrate, Happy Hanukkah. Just trying to think what other things. There's another one. Kwanzaa, if people celebrate that. I don't know anybody who does, but hey, if you celebrate it, good for you, you know? Whatever you celebrate, have fun. Enjoy with your family. You may hear Howie, although I just gave him a treat. You guys always hear Howie, but I took him to the vet, and the vet thinks because of his age, it could be like a little bit of dementia. Could also be anxiety. So she gave me meds, which is the meds I usually give him to bring him to the groomer, or have the groomer come here, I should say. I used to bring him to a groomer, but I don't anymore. It's just easier for him, you know, for somebody to come here. Anyway, so I'm giving him meds, but it takes a little while in the morning. As soon as my husband leaves, the second he walks out the door, he starts with the barking. It's really strange. The doctor doesn't really know exactly why. So it's, you know, he's just older and he's got issues. Like we all do, right? We all have issues. Anyway, yeah, so Merry Christmas to everyone. I am stressing out. I'm doing a little diamond painting this morning just because I want to, like, you know, have my head straight. I've been super busy. That's why you guys haven't seen videos. I've been trying to finish some stuff. We went to my daughter's on Saturday for a Christmas brunch. Or Christmas breakfast, I should say. She just wanted to do something with just us. And, you know, and then, like, I wasn't expecting to host Christmas at my house, which I am doing tomorrow. But my mom, she's going to be 84 in February. You know, she was stressing out. She enjoys doing it. She loves the cooking and stuff, but it's a lot for her. And it's more difficult for me to go to her house than for her to come here. And she likes to buy all the food and stuff and bring it here. So we decided to do it here instead, which is fine. It's just because I have stuff that needs to get done. I have to go pick her up later because my mom doesn't drive, so I have to go pick her up this morning at some point. It's supposed to be snowing a little bit today. I'm hoping I'm not driving in the snow because even though I'm in the Northeast, I don't usually drive in the snow if I can avoid it. Even when I was working, anytime it snowed, I stayed home because where I worked at the convent, they didn't plow the driveway until later in the day, so I wouldn't be able to get in because it was on a main road. So the street plows would, like, plow everything in. Now, I don't know if you guys, can you see okay? Should I put the light on? Is that better? If it'll let me. Well, I guess you can see my hand, although it's super bright for me. Look how pretty this is coming out. Although this is Sunday morning in spring. I started back on it. I don't know if you can see the sparkle. Is it showing the sparkle? There it is. The drills are nice. As far as the sparkle, it's amazing. Just because it's a Dreamer Designs older canvas, although it's a new canvas. I bought this sometime this year. The drills don't fit perfectly, but it's not terrible. You know, at first I really hated it, but now I'm a little bit used to it, and the picture itself and the rendering really is beautiful. So I'm looking forward to finishing it, but I'll tell you right now, I'm dying to kit up a new kit, like a winter theme kit. I think I want to do that golden castle one that I unboxed last week, I think. I'm going to try to do a couple of videos this morning. But of course, everybody's generally busy around this time anyway. I haven't even barely watched any videos other than a couple of crochet videos. I've listened to the radio. I've watched some Christmas movies at night with my husband when he gets home. And that's kind of been it. I've just been straight out. I've made let's see, I crocheted some ornaments. I made some ornaments for the family. I made a new stocking because my daughter is pregnant. She's announced it quite a while ago. But she is, let's see, she's going to be, I think, 21 weeks. Yeah. So she's pregnant due in May. So I made a new stocking because I made stockings for the whole family like 3 years ago. And then I I also at that time she was pregnant. It was no 2 years ago. I made it 3 years ago. 2 years ago she was pregnant with her first, and I made another stocking. So I'm trying to make them to match. And with this one, I'll tell you, I call myself a crochet master, and let me tell you, I am. I can pretty much crochet anything. Okay, if I look, a lot of times I don't even really need a pattern. But here's the deal: when I do have a pattern, this was a pattern, and I almost always not 100%. There are some patterns I would never alter because they're perfect. They don't need to be altered. But this stocking was originally crocheted in 2 flat pieces, and then you sew them together. Okay, so I will change that up and I'll do it in the round. I know how to do it. That's not a problem for me. Until I go to recreate the pattern. I wrote some stuff down, but I didn't write all my changes down. And there was one part that I could not figure out why it was coming out the way it was. Now it looks exactly the same. Nobody would ever know that it's. I think I slightly changed it again. I don't really even know because this was 2 and 3 years ago, and the brain isn't working as good as it used to. It looks perfect. It looks exactly how it should. But let me tell you, I had a hell of a time. I'm like, what did I do? It wasn't logically coming together the way it should, because one thing about crochet or knitting or anything like that, even though I hate math, you have to pay attention. You have to count. It is a logical craft. If you want something to wind up a certain way, you got to know, like, okay, I'm going to count 3 stitches, decrease on the next 2, then count another 3, whatever, and it was driving me freaking bananas. So it took me a little bit longer to do that because, I could have done it earlier, but I was busy doing other things. Plus I had the party here a couple weeks ago. Actually, it was, 2 weeks ago, this past Saturday. I still watch my granddaughter. I had to do, Christmas presents. Guys, I do a lot. I do this to myself, okay? I honestly do this to myself. I can't complain because it's my own fault. But the point being, I've been super, super busy. I really haven't even had a chance to get to videos. I want to, but I don't have the time right now. Other than this one. And it's still pitch black out there. What time is it? It's almost 7 o'clock. 6:46, and it's like pitch black out there because, of course, we just had the winter solstice. What was it? Saturday? Was it Saturday or Sunday? I can't remember. So of course everything is darker for like 3 days, and then on the 25th that's when the sun supposedly comes back. A lot of it is mythological when it comes to it's not even mythological, it's astronomical. But they have myths around it, Anyway, so that's my life right now. Super, super, super busy. But I needed to do this for a little while because my mind gets overly stressed. And sometimes I just need to do something that's mindful like this. To kind of like get my act together. Because I do have to go pick up my mom. Gonna have to make food, which isn't a big deal. She makes these specific dishes, and it's just 3 dishes. I already made my cheesecake. I make a special dip for chips, regular chips. It's a garlic dip that I got one year at a kind of like a farmer's market, although it wasn't really. It was at an old mill, which they're sadly closing in Lowell, called Mill Number 5, but this comes from a farm, and they mix this stuff, and I buy now in like a big bag, like I don't know how many pounds it is. Maybe it is a pound. It might be a pound, and I break it up. I give some to my kids. I keep some. You can use it for seasoning as well. It's good for, but it makes an amazing dip. It is very garlicky and it's slightly spicy. They put a little pepper in there, but it's every time I make it, people are like, oh my God, this is so good. It really is. I could eat it by the bucket, to be honest with you. That's the only thing I'm really cooking other than the food my mom's bringing down that she wants to cook. She makes shrimp. She makes codfish casserole. She makes a Portuguese stew, which is just, Portuguese stew is very simple. It's, you marinate the meat in a wine garlic sauce. It's wine, garlic, like you used a ton of garlic. Depending on how much meat you have, she probably has a good amount. It's going to be at least a head of garlic. Wine, and you crush it. Wine, garlic, red pepper. We use like a pastine red pepper or whatever. Slightly spicy, but not super spicy. It's hot red pepper, but it's not like horribly hot. A little bit of cinnamon, paprika, and tomato paste, and salt. A good amount of salt. And red wine. You put it in the red. You can use whatever wine, but we use red wine for it because, you know, it's red meat, so it's gonna be. If you, and you can do this particular sauce, and you go by taste. I have no measurement. Sorry. You go by like, okay, I like this flavor. I don't like, you know, if you're only going to make a couple of pieces, say, of pork chops, I would use max two cloves of garlic, you know, maybe half a cup of wine at the most. Just dash a little bit of the cinnamon. You don't have to use cinnamon. I do, but you don't have to. Salt, pepper, paprika. I'm sorry, no pepper. Salt, paprika, and tomato paste. And you just let them marinate in that. You know, you can use it for chicken. If you're going to do chicken, I do white wine. I do my turkey like this. I do white wine. Everybody loves the turkey. I used to make it at work all the time. They were always amazed. And you brine it in that, you know. I do that for like 3 days. And then you can use it for red meat. You can use it for fish. It's really good with fish. But with fish, I would add lemon juice as well. I like it more tart. And a little bit of parsley, I think. I think that's how my mom does it. I don't do a ton of fish. My mom does way more fish than I do. Yeah, so it's just one of those things. At least that's how we make our stew. Portuguese cooking is just like American cooking, slightly different depending on what region you're in or even what island. Like my husband's from a different island than I am, from the Azores. So his mom would make similar food, but slightly different. They used different spices. They cooked it slightly different. It was all delicious. No matter who cooks it, it's delicious. If you go to the mainland, very different, completely different kind of cooking. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's just one of those things. And then, like I said, I think shrimp, the codfish, and the stew. But it's a big stew, and it takes a while to cook. And you just put the meat, you brown the meat in oil. I'm going to use coconut oil. You can use whatever you want. Coconut oil is just so much healthier. You can use butter. You can use olive oil. I wouldn't use seed oil. I wouldn't use vegetable oil. That stuff is really not healthy. I haven't used that in years. I'm inflamed enough. I don't need any more. And then you just cook it in the wine and water. You use that same wine. After the meat's browned, you put it in there and you cook the meat till it's done. And then you cut potatoes. Like, my mom uses different potatoes than me. I like the russet potatoes, but she uses whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever potatoes you like. You cut them in like quarters. And then at the very end, the last, 10, 15 minutes, however long it takes to cook them, you put the potatoes in there. And the potatoes soak up that flavor. It's really good. Now, I like regular American beef stew, and I make that too. Depends on my mood. But the Portuguese stew is on another level, you know, because it's very rich with the wine flavor and stuff. Really good. Really good. But you can use, like, that particular marinade you can use for different meats. And it tastes different depending on the meat you use, you know. So we're going to make just the meat today, and I will cook the potatoes in the stew in the morning, because it's just going to be too much to do tomorrow, because everyone's coming here like 1-ish, plus my daughter's bringing my granddaughter early because she takes a nap around 11 or 12. I don't want to be making noise while she's taking a nap, you know. She's going to come early so she can take her nap, so when she gets up we can all eat, because we'll be eating right around her the time she gets up. So anyway, I'm doing that, having the family over, not a huge deal. But of course, I want to straighten up the house, clean the bathroom. I got to go pick up my mother. I think I have to go to the grocery store for something else. God, I'm hoping I don't. I am so hoping I don't have to go to the grocery store. It's going to be a madhouse today. I thought I had everything, but I may not. Other than that, it's all good. It's all good. You know, how is everyone doing? How are you guys coming along with your preparations? Are you guys going to family? Are you guys hosting? Did you already do it? Because some people do early stuff. Like we did the early ones with my daughter, as far as like just gifts and stuff, because we thought we were going to my mother's. So it was just going to be easier to just do it with just us rather than dragging everything up to my mom's house. I guess well, it'll be the same anyway. I dragged it to her house, but it was nice though. It was really nice to have, a breakfast. She's a great cook. So we had a nice breakfast. We spent some time, just us, which is nice. We don't really get a ton of time to do that. It was me, my husband, my son. I should say our son. These are both our kids. His, of course, my daughter's husband, my son's girlfriend, and the baby, our little granddaughter, my daughter's daughter. And it was nice. We didn't have the other kids because they were at the other parents' house for the weekend. So it was just a time to kind of just like settle and, catch up and everything. And it was fun. We had a good time. My daughter made me a stocking. It was funny because she's like, you say you've never got a stocking, so I made you a stocking. I was really sweet and cute. I loved it. The only time I ever did get a stocking, like we didn't do stockings growing up. My parents weren't into that. That wasn't a Portuguese tradition. That's completely American as far as I know. I mean, it could be. It actually, no, that might be like German. Is it German or Austrian or something? Either way, it's not Portuguese. We don't do that. So it was really cute that she did that, because I had never gone one. Other than when I was working with the nuns every year, my boss, who I freaking loved, I loved that woman so much, used to make us all stockings. It was really cute, it was really fun things like, just cute things like toothbrushes and, I don't know, like useful things, toothbrushes, toothpicks, the little, I don't know what they're called, the placard type stuff, things like that, nothing I couldn't use, just stuff she'd pick up at the dollar store throughout the year and just throw in there, and it was just fun. And occasionally there'd be a gift card or something in there. God, I missed that job. Let me tell you, that was a fun job. It was fun because I got to know everybody like on a very personal level. And I mean, they were like family. I mean, these I was in their home, when you're cooking at a convent or anything like that, you're in their home. I hope you guys can see. It's kind of the best I could do. Especially, hold on, you know what? Maybe if I bring this a little over here, you can see a little bit better. Yeah, so it was just really a nice place to work. Plus, they left me alone. They knew I knew what the heck I was doing. I didn't need to be micromanaged or managed for that matter. I'm the one that set the menu. I would make the shopping list. They would go shopping once a week for whatever I needed for the following week. And so I was kind of like on my own, which was great. I mean, they'd come in anytime, chit chat with me. But they weren't like over my shoulder watching everything I do. I can't stand that. I like to be like left alone. Like, give me a job and leave me alone to do it, I don't like to be, micromanaged. Not that anybody does, but I particularly hate it, I don't like to be watched. Because I know what I'm doing, and I'm reliable, and don't worry, you'll get it done. If you need me to do something, don't worry, it will get done. So yeah, that's what I have going on. I do miss my little job. I miss my old ladies. The last time, anytime I see them now, sadly, is a lot of times it's funerals. I don't get a ton of a chance to get down to the convent to visit. And of course, when, flu season comes around, they don't want a lot of people there. There's only a few of them left. How many are there now? Let's see. 2 just passed away within a couple weeks of each other, a month of each other. They were both, one was 99, one was 96. Can you imagine? And I love them both. And let's see, how many are there now? 3, 5. I think there's 5 in the convent now. My ex-coworker, she's still there. She was the housekeeper, so she migrated over. She's not well. She's really not a healthy person. And she's in her 60s now, so she's going to be retiring very, very soon. I'm assuming probably this year, to be honest. you know. So, but she's not healthy at all. She's got a lot of medical issues. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, those nuns are all, I think the baby of the bunch is maybe 78 or 9, something like that. And she's the baby. Okay. They're all super, super old. You know. I mean, I shouldn't say super, super old because that doesn't sound right, right? I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean they're elderly. There's no new nuns. Their order, as far as in the States and in Canada, they're actually based, I think they were based originally out of Lowell, Mass, but then they, like, because they're all French Canadian, or they're based on a French Canadian, Saint Margaret de Ville, yes, out of Canada. She was a housewife and stuff, and I think she wanted to become a teacher. Was it her? There's Saint Marguerite Duville. And what was the other one? There was 2 saints, but my nuns are called Sisters of Charity of Ottawa. I'm thinking maybe the chapter here in Lowell is the one that was the first one in the States. I don't remember if it was started in the States, but as of right now, their mother house, their big mother house, is in Ottawa. And they used to run schools, and they used to run hospitals. Matter of fact, where I worked, the hospital was across the street. There's the hospital my daughter was born in, but it wasn't really, I don't think it was run by the church then already. It might have already been bought out. I don't remember. Anyway, so they used to run these hospitals and stuff like that. But their order pretty much died out because, you know, women back in the day, whenever this was started, I mean, my nuns are older, and they all went into it like in the 40s. You know, a lot of them. I don't remember the whole history of the order at all. But, you know, like I said, my nuns very old, and a lot of them went into it when they were like 18, 16, 18, and they wanted to be teachers or whatever. Even though women have the opportunity to be teachers and stuff, a lot of them, I think, it was financial too. If you went into an order, pretty much all of that was covered. You know, I mean, yes, you gave up your ability to have a husband and children, but some of them didn't. You know, one of mine, the one that just passed away one of my nuns, I should say, that just passed away at 99. She's from a family of 13, and a lot of them were. Most of the nuns I worked with, except maybe a couple, are from these very large families, 11, 12, 13, 14 kids. And she was the oldest, and she saw her mother pregnant every frigging year. And I really think she just didn't want to live that life, you know, and I think she saw it as an escape, and in her head and in the head of her parents, an honorable vocation, you know, rather than, you know, living on your own or, I don't know, whatever else they could have possibly done, because, you know, that's a long time ago. And so she chose not to have kids. She said to me so many times that her mom was always pregnant, and her father never even once gave her mother a flower for like her birthday or for Christmas or for nothing. Never once like showed her, you know, that she meant something, that she was worth anything, you know. And that's part of that whole generation. Not everybody. I know for a fact that's not everybody, but in a lot of these cultures, like, you know, these, I'm going to say, you know, European type cultures, French, Canadian, Portuguese, Italian, whatever, it was very misogynistic. And I know because I come from those cultures. I come from a culture like that. Women were, once you got the woman, that was it. Then she was your basically your slave and your baby maker, you know. And I know it's not in all cases. But it was in a lot of cases. And even my mom kind of lived like that, you know. She didn't have a ton of opportunities because my mom doesn't really read or write. She was raised in a very like poor situation. She didn't have the opportunity because back in the day in her town that she comes from, it wasn't mandated that you go to school. You went to school if your parents said it was okay, and if your parents needed you to do other things like cook for a neighbor and get paid, or clean, or if you were sickly. My mom was sickly. My mom had some health issues when she was young. Some of it I think was actually anxiety and manifested physically, but some of it was definitely physical. But she always had stomach issues. To this day, she always has stomach issues, especially when she gets herself worked up. So I'm certain a lot of it is definitely anxiety, and she can't take any of that stuff. That's medications and stuff. It doesn't agree with her. It's not for everybody. So, yeah, these nuns, they went into being nuns because for them it was a better actually opportunity to live a life of service, being teachers, being nurses, helping people, you know, and all that. Well, of course, over the years, you know, women, you know, the 60s came, the 70s came, women didn't have to worry about, I mean, you still have to worry, but life got a little freer, and they were able to like go out on their own, live on their own, do whatever they wanted to do, and become teachers or lawyers, doctors, whatever. I mean, some women did that over the years, but it was a lot harder. You know, the last 50 years have definitely been more liberating for women. In some cases, it actually has made it harder, right? Because, you know, if you're working full time and then you come home and you're still doing all the woman's work, you're not liberated. You're just working twice as hard, you know? And yeah, it's hard, especially when you're in I'm sorry, my nose is constantly stuffy in the morning, you guys. It's awful. Especially when you come from a culture like mine where it's very traditional. Now, my husband and I have very traditional roles, and that's, I mean, at this point, it's kind of, it is what it is. Because that's what I knew, and that's what I did. That's what he knew, and that's what he did. You know, but, you know, as I was saying, if women, you know, didn't have a great opportunity, they would go into these nunneries. Well, now, like I said, in my convent, or the convent that I was working, when I started there was 7 nuns at that convent, and I think 5 at the other. So that's what, 7, hold on, I gotta count in my head, 13? 13, I think. It's either 13 or 14. I can't remember them all because I really didn't meet the other ones from the other convent. They didn't really come over much. I knew some of them just by name, but I really didn't know them. But they started like basically dying out here in the States. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Hang on. All right, I'm back. Sorry, guys. When I sneeze, it's super loud. And I sneeze like 500 times. It's not pretty. So yeah, so they started dying out here in the States. I don't know if they ever had any more convents other than in this area. But they had convents in Japan. They have convents in Haiti. They have convents, I believe, in Papua New Guinea. They have convents, I believe, in Africa. And believe it or not, those places, they're still thriving. They have new nuns, especially in Japan, for some weird reason. You know, they have quite a big congregation. But here in the States and in Canada, at the Mother House in Ottawa, they're all older nuns. As far as I know, the ones in Canada, they're all older nuns as well. I'm 99% sure. You know, so as they all start passing away, which they are really starting to really do now pretty quickly, they're going to have to figure something out. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't transfer the, actually, now that I think about it, I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if they transferred the ownership to the other nuns at one of these other countries. But what's happened here in Massachusetts, over here in the Lowell convent, is they hooked up with a convent from, I think it's Pennsylvania, and these women cater to, I think it's why are you moving? Don't move like that. I think it's like crisis centers for women, like I don't know if it's like human trafficking or like domestic violence or whatever, or it could be both. They actually, and now I'm just remembering, they actually have signed everything over. So when the last nun passes away, because they own everything in like conjunction with each other. So when the last nun passes away, everything will transfer to this new group of nuns. Now, I'll tell you one thing about my nuns. They lived a poor life. They really did. I mean, none of their furniture was super new, nothing like that. The convent I lived in is an old building. It's an old historical building. Beautiful building. I'm not knocking it. But it needed to be updated. Like the kitchen I worked in, I mean, honestly, it was probably built, if I'm lucky, in the 70s, more like the 60s. And it was fine. It was fully functional, useful. It just, you could just tell it was old. But these nuns, when it comes to property, they're worth millions. Okay, they have huge properties. Like this particular building that I worked in. At one point, it was a hotel. Another point, it was an orphanage, and then it became the nunnery or the convent. That building alone, because of the property. Because in Lowell, if you know anything about Lowell, there's property is prime because it's a very congested city already. But this has a huge backyard, in-ground pool. It has a parking lot in the front, small parking lot, but because of the way it's done in the back, there's a little road. They could make a bigger driveway in the back. So whoever, and this building's for sale, so whoever buys this is probably going to turn it into either dorms, because the college is literally right next door. UMass Lowell, there's a few of the campuses, they're all in the same area. They're like within a 5 to 10 minute walking distance, but there's literally a 2 minute walk, not even 1 minute walking distance to the one of the buildings. Used to be where the hospital was, as a matter of fact, that I was talking about earlier. That got knocked down and now it's part of the college or the university. And so whoever buys this, it's for sale. Whoever buys this is probably going to develop it. It's a huge building. I mean, I can honestly see them either turning it into apartments, and they could probably easily make maybe 10 apartments out of this building. Easily, because the whole downstairs, the whole basement is actually fixed. It's quite large. And it is, part of it is walkout, so they could make it, definitely could make an apartment down there. Of course, they're gonna need, space to put like hot water heaters, heating, and all that. But there's enough space downstairs to make at least one apartment easily. So there's a kitchen down there, there's laundry down there, there's showers down there, there's everything. Because they also ran a what do you call it? They ran a Alcoholics Anonymous down there. My boss ran that for years. But what they also did, and this I don't know if I ever mentioned it before, but it was the only type of its program in the country. What it was young women that are aging out of the DCF program, or Department of Children's Services, or Children's and Families. If they were in that, when they age out, like when they turn 18, they get no help. They're like, I don't even know if they're given a check. They're basically, you're 18, we're not helping you anymore. So somehow my other boss hooked up with DCF, and they made it where it's become transitional. So these women who are aging out of this program can come and stay with the nuns. I mean, they have their own rooms and stuff. They really don't have to even interact with the nuns. They just have to follow rules, like, no smoking on the premises, no drinking. You can have friends, but they're not allowed to stay overnight. I mean, you just have to follow rules, and they pay us a little bit of rent. It was like a couple $100 a month, whatever. But they have full use of the facilities. They have full use of the pool. They have the laundry. They have the big kitchen downstairs that they can cook and all that. So they ran that program. the entire time I was there 13 years. I think around 15 years. And a lot of girls did go through that program. Some were great, some were horrible, some were absolutely terrible. One of them that I got kind of friendly with wound up stealing from the nuns. I'm like, why would you steal from old ladies that are trying to help you? What is wrong with you people? And there was no need for it. I figured out this girl was just like, she was just a scammer, but which is sad. But a lot of them really appreciated, everything that they did. They threw them a Christmas party at Christmas time. Each one of them got a big present and, gift cards and all kinds of stuff. They did the party in conjunction with DCF because the guy who ran DCF, Eric, he was a doll. He was such a sweetheart. And then he wound up leaving. We got somebody else who was kind of an airhead. But anyway, by then, it wasn't, my boss passed away soon after that. So they stayed on till the end, until basically I was let go. There was a couple of girls that stayed to the end, and that was it, and that's really sad because that program, I wish it had taken off in other parts of the country. As far as I know, even when I left, it's the only one of its kind. And it was a way for the nuns to kind of like keep the building open and be able to maintain the building. And also give comfort to these girls and give, a place for them to live. Now, while they were there, they had to have a job or go to school or both or whatever, They had to like be productive in some way. You couldn't just hang out and do nothing, because they were trying to get them to become adults. And, and these girls came from like really bad environments. If you're in a DCF situation till you're that age, you're coming from a really horrible environment most of the time, and they're not given like great guidance because a lot of them are bouncing from home to home to home to home constantly, and that's truly sad because they're not given that foundation. And I see a lot of them like started to like connect with their birth families, and 90% of the time what I saw did not end well because those people hadn't worked on their issues. Some of them were fine, because I did get friendly with some of the girls. One in particular, oh God, I loved her. It was funny because it was two sisters, and one was super appreciative. She was in college. She actually is down. I think she's still down in, she's at BU, something like that. I forget. I have her on my Facebook page and I forget now. And it was funny. The two sisters were like night and day. One was super responsible, super appreciative, a doll, like she would come and chit chat with me. A lot of them would come and chit chat with me too, was because I always had cookies. Because I used to bake cookies usually once a week for the nuns. So I'd be like, hey, have some cookies. I don't care. The nuns don't care. They're not eating them all anyway. And this one in particular would come and chit chat with me, and we got really pretty close. And the others, the sister, I'm like, one was Mary and one was Anne, okay? And the sister, which is funny because that's like Mary, if you know anything about the Christmas story, of course, Mary, but Anne is her mother, These girls were, I think, Egyptian. Yeah, they're Egyptian, actually. But they're, I want to say Coptic Christians. I don't think they're Catholic. I think they're Coptic Christians. Anyway, the sister, on the other hand, oh my gosh, she was horrible. She was horrible. She was so mean to my boss. She was nasty. She eventually, I think, got kicked out. Now, I'm trying to remember. But I'm pretty sure they finally tossed her out because she was smoking in there. She was smoking pot in there. I mean, honestly, this is a convent. You have to respect that this is a place of vocation and religious. It's religious by its nature. And this girl was just such an ass. And I couldn't believe it because they're sisters, very similar in age, and absolutely night and day. Night and day. One was a sweetheart, the other one was a jerk. And I got friendly with Mary, and it was just, it was nice. I was able to get friendly with some of the girls. There's quite a few, but of course we've lost touch over the years because, if they're not on Facebook and they don't stay in touch and they change their phone numbers a million times, don't have any way of getting a hold of them. But yeah, so it's like this program really, it's really sad because it helped a lot of people. The ones that went through it and didn't appreciate it, I'm sad for them because they could have really gotten a lot of it. But the ones that did appreciate it, I think that in 30 years, they're going to be telling their grandkids, if it wasn't for these nuns, I don't know what I would have done. Because there's a reason why they went and stayed with the nuns and not their birth family, because in most cases, it was some sort of issue, whether it was drugs, alcoholism, God knows, mental illness. And I'm not knocking those families because I know it's not, people have their own struggles, but some of them cannot deal with kids, especially kids that are just turning adults at that point. At that point, they already have their whole personality formed. They're not the same people unfortunately, the state took when they were 3 or 4 years old, which is just horrible. In some cases, it's just so sad. It's just so sad because in some cases they don't deserve it. Some of these families do get railroaded. I do believe it. And the cases that I saw, it was definitely needed because these girls, they would tell me these stories and it'd be horror stories, to be honest. And you don't stay in that system all that time until, usually unless there's already an issue to begin with. I'm supposed to be diamond painting over here and I'm just shooting the breeze and, forgetting to do it. I'm telling you, my brain's not connecting the dots today, So yeah, I wish that program had continued because that program, it was a really, really, really good program, but it did take coordination between DCF. They actually had a special person that dealt with it, and he was amazing. The people that came after him really weren't great. For them, it's kind of, honestly, I saw it more as they saw an opportunity for themselves. Because the one guy that came after him really wanted the building. He wanted to buy he supposedly wanted to continue the program. He wanted to buy the building. But I really think he wanted it for some sort of profit. He was always a little on the shady side. He seemed like a nice person, but I kind of like everybody. But this guy just had I don't know. He was a bit of a spaz. And on top of it, sometimes we'd call him, if there was an issue going on, we'd call him. Because he had to deal with the girls, whatever issue, and he just wouldn't answer. He wouldn't answer. It's like, wait a minute, that's what you're getting paid for. That's part of your job. Why are you not answering if this is a situation that needs to be dealt with? Occasionally there'd be a girl that they would have to say, hey, you got to leave for whatever reason. Sometimes it was drugs that they had on the premises, letting people in, letting guys stay overnight. I understand they're legally adults, but that was part of the rules because remember, it's a convent. It's not a home for girls to stay, it's not a group home. It is still a convent. Part of it is it's sort of like a group home, but not, oh my God, I'm noticing it's snowing out. Oh dear God, I'm going to have to really go up early to my mother's house because I don't want to be driving in the friggin' snow. So anyway, this guy just wouldn't, he would just, I don't know, he wasn't right for it. He wasn't right for the program. He wasn't right to do the work. He wasn't right. I don't think he was right with the girls. I don't think they respected him. He didn't give off an air of respect, I'll be honest. Not with the girls. He was fine with me. He talked to me. He was fine. But I could just tell the girls really didn't take him seriously, Whereas the other guy, there was a different kind of vibe, and I'm still friends with him today. I saw him last time I saw him was at the funeral of the other nun, which I think was in November. Yeah, one passed away in October, a couple weeks shy of her 100th birthday, and the other one passed away in November. So I think that's the last time I saw him, and I don't see him all that often at all because we don't run in the same circles or anything. And he's retired now. He's retired. He's living his best life. He works at a golf course. He does it. He does it for the golfing. He loves the golfing, and he just loves to be outside. So he's living his best life. He doesn't have to deal with the stress of working for, a government agency like that. DCF, that type of agency, is very, very difficult. Because remember, you're dealing with children. You're dealing with adults. You're dealing with mental health issues. You're dealing with alcoholism, drug abuse. He literally told me there was a woman, I think she was on her, 10th child, and he had to take this baby away at birth because she was addicted, and it wasn't healthy for the baby, and she did it 10 times, and God only knows, she probably did it another 5 or 6 times. I don't really know. So it was hard. It was really hard for him to have to do that, and place these children and make sure that they're okay. And he was one of the good ones where he actually did make sure, because something about Massachusetts, they've lost a lot of children in their DCF program. As a matter of fact, there was one little girl, Montgomery, the last name is Montgomery. Oh my God, I can't remember her name right now. This case just happened. Well, it didn't just happen, but it just went to court. Something Montgomery. I think it starts with a J. A little girl. She was like, I don't know, 4-ish. And her mother was in Lowell, but her father was up here in New Hampshire. Harmony Montgomery, that's what it is. And the little girl went missing. And the mother was actually at a shelter with one of my friends. My friends wound up being at a shelter for a while. When she get her self back on her feet, she wound up being at a shelter with her son. And her mother was at the shelter with her. And her mother, from what my friend tells me, whether this is just hearsay, so I'm not firsthand knowledge of this, but this is what my friend tells me, is that her mother, her mom expressed to, I'm not sure if it's the police or DCF or whoever, that she couldn't get a hold of her daughter. She wanted to see her daughter, and she wasn't being allowed to see her daughter or whatever. I don't really know the real specifics. So basically, it's like she was letting them know, hey, something's not right. But nobody really took her seriously because, she's in a shelter and I don't know, whatever other issues she might have had. Well, it turns out the little girl was missing, and it turned out that the father was the one that killed her. Which is absolutely horrible. And the wife, she actually turned evidence on him, and she's just as evil, in my opinion. And I'd like to see them both swing, because I have no pity for anybody like that. I really have no pity at all. For me, I would have no problem bringing back the death penalty for cases like that. I really don't. You can judge me that way. It's fine. I mean, honestly, in some cases, I am an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And in a case like this, the person that's supposed to protect you does that. No, I think that they don't need to be breathing the same air as the rest of us, to be honest. I know that's harsh, but I am I'm super protective of children, and it just breaks my heart. And to tell you the truth, I don't even want to know the whole story. I don't know the whole story. I don't know exactly what happened, how she passed, because I can't get into it, because it just breaks my heart and it really hurts my soul. So when a case happens like that, I hear about it, but I don't get deep into it. Because it's just too painful for me, to listen to what a child had to go through. It breaks my heart. It truly breaks my heart. Because I look at my kids, and they're adults now, but I look at my grandkids, I look at my baby granddaughter, and I'm like, they're so pure, and they're so innocent, and they're so helpless, and they're so trusting. And that kind of thing it just hurts me. It hurts me on a very, very, very deep level. And I'm not even part of the family or anything. It's just how I react, And I would think it's how most of us react. We're humans, we don't want to see anybody suffering, especially children that you haven't done anything wrong, no matter whether it's a war zone or whatever. But when it's somebody that's supposed to care about you and they do something like that, no. That's absolutely a huge no for me, and I would have no problem with them, going out, you know, in a similar manner, to be honest with you. All right, so my point being, what I was saying with that is that in Massachusetts in particular, I don't know about New Hampshire, even though I live up here, I still am, believe it or not, in my mind, I'm still a Massachusettsian. I don't know how you'd say it. Sometimes they call us massholes. And they have this, and it's true because Massachusetts people, oh boy, some of us is like, dude, you know, you can take a girl out of Lowell, but you can't take Lowell out of a girl. People say that, and it's true. You know, it's like you could take people out of Massachusetts, but you can't take Massachusetts out of people because we're just a different breed, I think. And they've lost. There are kids in Massachusetts that have gone missing that they have no idea where these kids are. And I'm talking probably a few thousand because they wound up in the DCF program and they're gone. Because, the problem is with these DCF workers, and I know this from talking to Eric, is they're super, super overburdened with cases. So if somebody doesn't show up or they go there and they knock on the door and nobody's there, and there's a huge high turnover, so at some point those cases get dropped somehow or get lost, or people just like they try but they can't. And those kids, they go looking for them after, and nobody knows where the hell they are. Where are these kids? Where are these kids? And nobody really is saying much about it. And it's really frustrating because it's like we have so much crap going on in this country. But seriously, there's missing children. We need to find these kids. And sadly, I think a lot of them are in like really bad situations. Or some of them moved out of state. I mean, that does happen too. I know there are cases where parents just move out of state. And that's okay. And they didn't let the state know because a lot of times they don't know they have to let them know. Or they're running away from like a what do you call it? Domestic situation or whatever. There's so many. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them are fine, but I'm sure a lot of them are not. And that's just really tragic and horrible because the state supposedly is there to help you, but you know what? Unless you help yourself, they're not going to do nothing for you. And if you're a child, you don't have a voice. And you know what? Like I said, if you drop off and someone else picks up these cases and somehow you're not even there anymore, you're just a number. And I know that a lot of these social workers are just so stressed out because they're dealing with like the hardest of the situations that generally they have to. And a lot of them will work there 2-3 years to get their, right out of school to get their, experience, I suppose. And then they'll go off and either work for themselves or work for somebody else. It's just like a counseling service. So they're not dealing with the horrors that they see. And honestly, I almost can't blame them, right? I couldn't do that job. I'll tell you right now, there's no way in hell I could do that job. It would break me, and it wouldn't take long. It really wouldn't take long. I don't have that in me, to be dealing with, abuse and neglect. And I mean, some of the stuff that these kids have gone through, it's a horror show, and it's a reality. For their life is a horror that's truly a reality. Anyway, I did not mean to go down this road. It's funny because I start these Whip and Chats and I never know where I'm going to go. I just let my brain kind of like take me where it needs to go. And for some reason, it had to go here. I don't know why. I'm just going to let it be because God only knows why my brain goes the way it goes. But I won't be putting up videos. I'm going to try to do a couple videos today, but now that it's snowing, I'm going to have to get my ass up to my mother's house. I don't know when you'll see a video. Definitely probably not tomorrow. I 100% don't know. But probably Thursday and probably Friday I'll start getting back to making the videos because then I won't have anything to do other than clean up a little bit, which is not a huge deal. And then I will be doing my unboxing videos. I know this month's been bad, but what are you gonna do? Do my unboxing videos. I have a couple of PR packages to show you, some really cute things. I have some beautiful paintings. I ordered some paintings from a new store that I had never heard of before. There was a coupon plus some stuff was on sale. So I got like a really, really great deal. I think it's Captured by Radiance. Yeah, that's the name of the store. So I'm going to be unboxing some of those when I get them. They're not here yet for you. So I will definitely be getting back to my schedule soon. It's just, these last couple of weeks have just been hard, with everything else going on. So I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I hope if you don't celebrate Christmas, whatever you celebrate, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy whatever. I hope you have a fantastic day with your family. If it's just pets and you, if it's just you and you, have a great day anyway. I just wish you all the best. You guys are awesome. You're wonderful people. I love you all. I don't know you. I don't know most of you. There's only one I've gotten really close to. Well, there's a couple that I feel like I really could be friends with. But those that watch and comment, I truly, truly appreciate you. I do love you on a spiritual level. Excuse me. On a spiritual level, I really, really do love you. And I wish nothing but the best for you. And I hope you have a fantastic, fantastic day. All right? Take good care of yourselves. Blessings and thank you.